heat acclimatization. Why is this important? Because this is preventable. You can't always stop every cardiac arrest, but we could prevent heat-related illnesses, and we should. Corey Stringer was at Ohio State when I was there in 1992 as a fellow, and that's where I met him, but he died at the age of 27 in 2001. Okay? And we still have people continuing to die since then of heat stroke, including 40 high school football players across the nation. And then this is the annual football injury research that's published out of UNC. These are all high school football players who died. And again, we talk about football primarily because of when they start their season and because they wear pads. This will apply to a lot of other sports as well. You hear a lot about heat index, and you hear a lot about what that means. So I'm just going to tell you, heat index is about air temperature and humidity. And basically, it's important. The more humid it is, the harder it is to evaporate your sweat. Heat gets out of your body by sweating. If you can't evaporate your sweat, your heat stays in your body. This is what the NCAA has. Since 2003, the NCAA has a 5-day acclimatization period. And you can see all the details through here in terms of what that means for the NCAA. So we've been doing that for years. High school, this is what's recommended for high school, a 14-day acclimatization period. So what happened after Corey Stringer died is I met Kelsey. She actually started the Corey Stringer Institute through the University of Connecticut, where they are now working with every state to try to get guidelines in place to prevent heat illness from happening in our kids. And this is their recommendations. 14-day period, first 5 days, only 1 practice a day. And then you can't wear any pads, full pads, until day 6. Must be followed by a single practice day. Tracy talked about some of that stuff too. But this is key in terms of what they're recommending. And you can make it, I'm not going to go through everything, but it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. Well, if you look here are the heat acclimatization guidelines. This is off the Corey Stringer Institute website. And you can see that these are the states where the number of guidelines match what they've recommended. Okay? A lot of the southern states here, they have us as being deficient, but we're working to improve. We are working to improve. We're deficient because we don't have a mandate. We have a recommendation is what we have. It's in our sports medicine guide, but we don't have a bylaw for it, and it's certainly not legislation. Why should we pass a bylaw? At the very least, to start with the bylaw. Again, we don't know about our kids. What if someone just had the flu? We don't know that. They're really at risk for heat illness. What if someone has sickle cell trait? NCAA says that we need to start testing, but we're not testing. We're not going to mandate that for our kids, to test that for every kid. Medications, how many of our kids are on ADD, ADHD meds? They're at high risk for heat illness. They're at high risk for heat illness, okay? Poor level of conditioning, you may have had a great program set up, the coach may have had a great program set up for his soccer team, or her soccer team. How many people are going to have done that program? Not everyone's going to be equally conditioned. New to the sport. I mean, there's so many reasons why we need to protect our kids. The other thing is, they're going to get injured less. They're not as tired, their body's not recovering as much, they're going to get injured less. So there's some, again, online training videos that the coaches can take. But again, we're going to push this hard in our committee because we really, really think it's important.